How's it going, guys? Cody, we're back again. We're dropping yet another video. Right, guys, sadly and tragically, this video is about a prison suicide. I hate these stories. I genuinely do. Now, I don't know much about the details right now. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to find out more information. The mother of a prisoner who's actually appeared on this channel, if you remember a while back, a guy called Adam, he did a video and it was all about HMP Nottingham and about corruption and deaths in custody and medical negligence, and he just shone a light on what was happening at HMP Nottingham. He got out of prison. He's been sentenced to another 3 years. He's in Ranby, which is a Category C prison. His mother's reached out to me. She sent me a text message yesterday, and it's about a death in custody. Now, the prisoner that's tragically and sadly passed away, from what this prisoner's mother has said, is Paul Carroll. I don't know where Paul's from, I've got to be honest, so I'm not going to speculate. But Paul Carroll, who was on the same wing as Adam, I think he's in the cell next door to Adam, strung up 48 hours ago. Now, there's nothing out there in the media yet. Now, a lot of these prisons, right, they have social media accounts, right? And they only post propaganda. So they suppress the negatives and they push the very few positives that they have. I need to go back as well, because first things off the bat, I would like to send my thoughts, my prayers, and my condolences to the family of Paul Carroll. God bless him, may he rest in peace. I've been told that he sadly and tragically strung up or hung himself. Prison suicides, I'm sick of covering them. It breaks my heart to cover them. It's happening more frequently. Nobody cares. The only people that care about prisoners are people that are supporting them. Family, girlfriends, partners, husbands, because we've got female offenders. And like, it's just absolutely devastating. And like I said, that the prisoner are aware of this death, obviously. Have they, once they've confirmed the death and they've reached out to the family of Paul Carroll and they put them in contact with an FLO or a family liaison officer, they're not worth anything. They don't do anything. They go, they tell you that your son's dead. They walk away, they drop the bombshell and they disappear. There's no ongoing support or anything. They come out and they'll say, yeah, he died, blah, blah, blah. With all deaths in custody, the file will be passed to the Prison and Probation Ombudsman, who is supposed to be independent. I have seen some scathing reports by the Prison and Probation Ombudsman, reference deaths in custody and everything else, failures, missed chances, things like that. Now, like I say, when you are in prison, there is a magnifying glass that is placed upon you. Right? A lot of offenders, before they've ever been offenders, they've first been victims. They've grown up in care, physically abused, sexually abused. They've been care leavers, learning difficulties, mental health, diagnosed or otherwise. And this is the thing. A lot of these people that end up in prison, before they've been offenders, they were first victims. And when you're in prison, and I've said this 1,000 times, guys, genuinely, like, if you're in prison, the most dangerous thing, it's not the violence, it's not the drugs, it's not the spice, it's not the understaffing, it's not the corruption, it's not the debt. Most dangerous thing in prison, your own mind. People might think, what do you mean by that? When you're in prison, right, obviously this is a Category C prison, so Ranby, they'll have a lot more association and exercise than they would in another prison ordinarily. Obviously this is COVID times, and obviously prisoners have been spending 23 to 23 and a half hours locked behind the doors. Now, obviously to get to a Category C, you've earned the right to get to a Cat C. And obviously there's 4 categories of prisons. You've got Cat A, which is your maximum security facilities. I've been in a Cat A, but not as a Cat A prisoner. I was in Strangeways, which is built to a maximum security facility specification, but it actually houses multi-category prisoners. And there's only actually about 40 Cat A prisoners there. Then you look at other prisons where it's like your Cat A's, Belmarsh, Long Lartin, Wakefield, Franklin, etc. But yeah, then you've got your Category B's, which is like a medium security. C's your lower, and then D's your open. And when you're in prison and you're locked behind your door for stupid amounts of time, you start to think, you start to dwell, you start to overthink, you start to overanalyze, and it causes many different issues. It causes paranoia. By default, men are more insecure than women, and we get paranoid and we get jealous and we get insecure, and prison only magnifies that. That becomes more intense, right? When you're in prison and you're locked behind your door for 23 hours a day, right, due to the COVID thing, like I said, ordinarily Cat C prison, you're going to get a lot of association, a lot of freedom. You start to think, and you start to play things in your mind, and your brain starts to play tricks on you, and dark times can set in. And when the dark clouds come, it's very hard to escape. Like I said, I've had dark clouds. Yeah, when I was in Strangeways, I was on remand. Yeah, I literally was like, I was looking at 10 years for a witness intimidation thing. Yeah, max I could get 10 years. Tied in with Dominic Noonan, as you guys know. And I was guilty by association because Dominic was number one on the police's shit list, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so when I was in prison, with no evidence, by the way, I was sat there and I kept looking at things. I thought, how am I in prison? Like, this is absolutely like bullcrap. And it kept going on and on and on. And I kept getting knocked back on bail application. And I thought, I'm never going to get out. And the dark clouds started to set in. And I didn't even see them setting in. They just came. And I spiraled into depression. And I started accusing the girl that I was with at the time of playing away with like her friends and like just the craziest stuff imaginable. Like, I just had irrational thoughts, right? And then you start to get on the phone, you're telling your missus, leave me out, listen, I'm going to get lifed off here, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't going to get lifed off, but I was just like, look, I'm going to be in here, you get on with your life, what are you doing wasting your time on me? A lot of prisoners have this, like, it's like a defense mechanism, right? They just think, I just want to get on with my jail, and they cut ties, and family relationships can break down, and relationships can break down. That just makes everything a million times worse. And then you become to a point where you think, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. And I've seen it where people have said that suicide is a cowardice act. Absolute rubbish. Right? Like I said, when you're in prison and you're suffering depression and mental health issues, right? Mental health services in prison are shocking. Healthcare is shocking overall. And a lot of men, because of that whole macho thing, they don't reach out because you're in prison and you've got to be macho because you're in prison and you're a crim or a con, and they keep it bottled up. And then they go behind the door and the thoughts start to come. Could be a mixture of mental health, family breakdown, paranoia, your life catching up with you, overthinking, overanalyzing. And a lot of people in prison threaten suicide. I've seen it happen. But it's a cry for help. One prisoner was threatening to take his own life if he didn't get a TV. He'd just been placed on basic. The red badge, or the senior officer, went and got him a television. The other officers on the wing were up in arms about it because they've rewarded that behaviour. There are other people that don't say anything. They go behind the door and they slit the wrists, they slit the throat, they string up or hang themselves. Ordinarily, sadly, it's a bed sheet. And they seek suicide as a way out. Now, there is no worse place on this earth to leave this earth than in a prison cell in a rundown, decrepit, dilapidated, old cell, if you're in an old build prison, away from your friends, away from your family, away from your children if you've got them, and to leave prison in a body bag. And another thing as well, because of this whole coronavirus thing, this individual will have not seen his friends or his family for at least 3 months. Has that contributed to his death? Because of he needed that support network there. When you're in prison, morale boosts, getting letters, getting emails from your family, your loved ones, prison visits, canteen days, phone calls, they're all morale boosters. They keep your head on the shoulders in the darkest of times. And it can become too much. Now, taking one's own life is not a cowardice act. A lot of people say, oh, it's a selfish act, it's a cowardice act. Right. Do you know how much balls it physically takes to actually go through with the act? A lot of people say it and they don't do it. They can't bring themselves to do it. Others, like I said, they go behind the door, if they're in a single cell, whatever, and they take their own life. Even in double cells, you can do it when your padmate's asleep. But if you're doubled up with a padmate, your padmate can get on the buzzer. He can bang the door. He can talk you out of it. He can cut you down before it gets to that stage. But there is definitely a direct correlation between prison and suicides. And like I've said, the prison system as a whole sweep these deaths under the carpet like these people never existed, like there was a piece of rubbish, like there's a piece of crap, right? First and foremost, yes, they're prisoners, but first and foremost, they are people. And no prisoner, people are sent to prison. They're not sent to death, right? The capital punishment was ridded of, like I say, decades ago. And the alarming rate in which prisoners are leaving prison in body bags, and like I say, compounded by being in prison, compounded by COVID, right? And like I've said, it's the craziest thing. Unless you've been in prison or supported somebody in prison, it is the maddest roller coaster you'll ever experience. But no mother or father should ever have to bury their son. And sadly and tragically, due to the prison system being the way it is, to break you in every conceivable way, it's happening week in, week out in the prison system. And there's no accountability. So like I said, a family liaison officer will go out, they'll tell the next of kin, yes, your son's, we found him unresponsive. They try and give some sort of, they think it's like a token by saying that because he's died whilst in our custody, you will receive between £3,000 to £4,000 towards the cost of his funeral. That's supposed to bring comfort to that family. No, it doesn't. The family that then on the receiving end, that's loved one has tragically and sadly taken their own life, will have so many questions. Two scenarios. Do you think the prison are open and honest, so clarity can be gained, or you think that they batten down the hatches and cover the tracks? Number two, all day, every day. I have broken so many suicides on this channel. I broke suicides of prison officers. Yeah, prison officers. I broke murders on this channel. The murder of Stephen O'Donnell in 2019. God bless his soul. May he rest in peace. At Risley Prison. We've broken high-profile prisoner suicides as well. Again, through my network of fantastic supporters and like associates and everything. And I get no joy by bringing news of suicides. And this is, like I said, this man, Paul Carroll, God bless him, general population prisoner, was in the cell next door to Adam, and he strung up. Now, I'll post a link to Adam's video in the description below. This is a previous video that he did about Nottingham. This suicide took place on House Block 1 at Ranby 48 hours ago. The prisoner, Paul Carroll. Again, My thoughts, my prayers go out to his friends and his family. The one thing I've learned through this channel and through breaking these horrific deaths and stuff, which I get no joy from doing, it breaks my heart, genuinely breaks my spirit, it breaks my heart, is that the one thing that I've learned is that the prison system wipes its own backside. And to the family of Paul Carroll, again, God bless him, God bless them, you will see what I mean, right? I don't know if the FLO would have told you, the family liaison officer from the prison, who was useless. You'll come out, they'll drop the bombshell, they'll leave your life in ruins, they'll walk away, and you'll get nothing out of them. You'll probably never hear from them again. They will cover the story up. You'll be allowed, they should have told you that you are allowed, well, saying that, it's COVID, so I don't think it'd happen, but ordinarily, in normal circumstances, we're obviously not living in normal circumstances right now with the coronavirus, but ordinarily, the family of the bereaved, I think it's 2 members, are allowed to go to the prison and are allowed to go to the cell where the individual was found. That cell should be double locked. But again, there's been stories where I know families, 2 Scousers particularly, the mother of Carl Newman, God bless his soul, took his own life in October of, I believe it was 2017, at Walton Prison. He was in for driving offences. He got out. He missed 1 probation appointment. They recalled him back to prison on the Tuesday. And I think on the Thursday or the Friday morning, God bless his soul, he was found dead. The mother of Anthony Payne, Tony Payne, Janet, lovely lady, absolutely lovely lady, sweetheart. Anthony Payne had significant mental health problems, was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. He had delusional beliefs and stuff like that. He had psychotic episodes. He climbed up on a roof during a psychotic episode, was ripping the roof off, and was throwing slates down to the road. Didn't hurt anyone, didn't hit anyone, didn't aim at anyone. Thought the police were going to come and shoot him. Rang his mum, they're going to come and get you, they're going to come and get you. And it was all in his head, God bless him. He was a very ill individual, and God bless him. Both those, he then went to, I'll finish the story. He then went to Walton Prison. His mother begged the judge, please do not send my son to prison. It will cost him his life. He was about a month away from getting his tag. It was his eligibility date for his tag. I think he'd surpassed it. It was about a month. It was a few weeks away from getting his tag anyway. And sadly and tragically, he was in a single cell. He'd been bullied, people trying to stab him, and he couldn't cope with it anymore. And he sought to take his own life, and he hung himself in Walton Prison. Both of those families were told by the prison, or this was the version of events. The families took legal action. By taking legal action, the solicitors that were representing both those families in Merseyside found massive holes in the story of the prison and the prison officers. And I'm not going to go into it for legal reasons, but there's going to be a lot to come out about both cases down the line, and I will obviously cover them in due course. But the system covers itself up. Prison officers are given time to collate their stories and make sure they're all singing off the same hymn sheet. And a man lays dead. And prisoners leave in prison in body bags. And nobody cares. Actually, nobody cares. Like, yeah, we've done wrong. Not everyone in prison is guilty, by the way. You've got miscarriages of justice. You've got people on remand that will ultimately, in the end, potentially be found not guilty, whatever. But there'll be certainly ones that are found not guilty. So not everyone in prison is guilty, number one. And prison should be about rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a made-up word. It's a politician's word. We human warehouse some of our most dangerous, yet some of our most vulnerable and some of our most susceptible inmates in our prisons. And we human warehouse them in the name of rehabilitation. And like, if you look at private prisons, right, G4S ran, Serco ran, Sodexo ran, G4S ran, things like that, right? These private prisons prisoners are used as political pawns, with the first goal and the end goal being financial gain. They're making money on the canteen, they're making money on the phone, they're making money just for having your loved one there, they're making money on the visits through the food and stuff like that. Email prisoner, well, I think that goes to Unitech, but again, the service isn't free, is it? So this is the thing. And they do it in the name of rehabilitation. And it's just a load of rubbish. And unfortunately, the way that prisons are built, the government have built prisons to break you in every conceivable way, physically, emotionally, psychologically. If you go to prison with mental health issues, they're going to get worse. You go to prison with no mental health issues, being locked up for sustained amounts of time, you will develop mental health issues. When you're in prison, the pressure is unbelievable. And like I say, a lot of people can handle the prison, 1,000%, right? But everyone that's been in prison at some point or other has hit rock bottom. Like I say, some prisoners might be psychologically stronger than others, but family relationships break down, bam, you go straight crash, right? And your relationship can break down, your family relationship can break down. You might split up with the missus of your kids and she's not bringing the kids anymore. It's all literally, it doesn't go up, it just goes down. And when it goes down bad. And like I said, you spiral into depression. I can sit here as a man and I could sit here and go, yeah, sweet mate, and I'd just laugh 24 hours a day. In prison, rubbish. I would be lying as a man if I did not sit here and say I cried in prison. It doesn't mean I'm weak. I hit rock bottom. Simple. I'm not ashamed to say that. This is the thing. I also wrote a suicide note when I was in prison that I sent to my mum. And the girl that I was with at the time told my mum, do not open that letter. I poured my heart out in the letter and I was crying. There was fucking like teardrops all over the page where the ink was running and stuff, right? That's me being honest with you. Then I had a visit. Then I get a phone call and I get on a phone. And then, but for some people, they don't have that support network. Not everyone in prison has a loving missus or a fantastic mother and father, right? A lot of these kids that are in prison, not all of them, but a lot of them have been literally passed from pillar to post, beaten, abused, starved, sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, given to care, passed from family to family to family because they've got behavioural difficulties or they've got behavioural problems or they're bad kids or they've been bad kids through the situations they've grown up or the parents were addicts, whatever the case may be. They don't deserve to leave prison in a body bag. I'm going to leave this here, guys. I've gone on for 23 minutes, right? I'm trying. Like I said, I don't know everything about this Paul Carroll death in custody. God bless your soul. But what I've learned through covering things on this channel is that what the prison tell the family about the death and what the truth is, two very different versions of events. A prison has got a reputation to try and protect. The loved ones of that prisoner just want to find the truth. And they will be thwarted and lied at every opportunity. Like I said, if you have the means to seek legal advice, I think you can get a first session for free. The only way you're going to get to the bottom of what's actually gone on, reference your son, if he was on AtBooks, what medication he was on, things like that, right, is through prisoners within the prison, if you're in contact with any of those prisoners, through legal advice as well. Failing that, it'll just be one big carpet and one big brush and it'll be swept under the carpet, and it shouldn't be the way that things are. Anyway, my thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Paul Carroll. May he rest in peace. God bless his soul. If I was the family, I would seek legal advice. I would also reach out to every paper in the Nottinghamshire area that will cover this story potentially because it's a death in custody. Reach out to national papers as well. The one thing I've learned as well is through covering so many suicides in prison and deaths in custody that 9 times out of 10 the family see the video. I'd like to thank Adam for contacting his mum to contact me. I appreciate it massively. I don't like breaking stories like this, and more needs to be done for prisoners and more accountability needs to be had. Anyway, guys, I live in a dreamland when it comes to that. Gonna leave it there. Like, comment, subscribe. Guys, do me a favor, please, right? Before I leave this video, even though we don't know Paul Carroll, he's still a prisoner that's died in the system. General population prisoner, strung up, God bless his soul. Please put some nice comments in the comment section below so that Paul's friends and family can see this, guys, because ultimately they will see this video. Whether it's now, whether it's in a few days, a few weeks, I don't care. Let's just put something nice and God bless his soul. Gonna leave it there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. God bless Paul Carroll. May he rest in peace. Cody out.